In today's video, we talk about something that's a little bit embarrassing, and that is why has it been so hard for us at StoryOn to market with stories? When that's been the core message that we've been preaching to other people, why has it been so hard for us to do it? Welcome back to episode 2 of Building the Brand. Every single week, we come right here to you and we share some of the things that we're struggling with or some of the big questions that we have as we grow StoryOn into a successful marketing company. Today's an interesting episode because for the last 4 years, ever since I started StoryOn, my message has been to market with stories. We started this whole thing because I saw the data, I saw all of these reasons of why people were picking the businesses they wanted to support because of stories. And so what did we start doing? We started helping to actually market businesses with stories. We got really good at storytelling, got good at telling everybody else's story, but along the way, it was really, really hard to tell our own. And so in the last few months, I've kind of had to ask this question and ask, why is that? Why do we have these amazing video assets or these amazing stories that we produce for other companies, but we haven't done it for ourselves? And part of this I feel like is pretty common actually in the media world, and it's kind of one of my pet peeves of, the graphic designer whose website sucks, or the marketing company who's not really marketing themselves well. Over the last year, we've been working piece by piece to actually start marketing StoryOn. And it's been more work, but it's changed a lot of things. And it's just been really easy to tell everybody else what they should be doing to grow their business while not really taking a lot of that advice ourselves. And I'm sure that you've seen that in the marketing world where everybody's willing to offer advice. And so this video is kind of about where we kind of caught ourselves. It was like, well, why don't we have a brand story video? And I think there's 3 main reasons that I haven't done this, that I haven't actually gotten my story and the story of our company on video to really get out there, and that I haven't been willing to do it. And the first reason is flat out fear. It's not fun to admit, but I think that when we're talking with clients, we see this all the time of how there's a certain element of fear with our story where we're afraid maybe people won't like our story, or maybe, it'll kind of cut us off from some of the market. Maybe when people hear it, they'll think we're too young or think we're too inexperienced or think whatever we might think, but we think people don't want to hear our story. And I have experienced firsthand this fear of actually marketing with stories, which is funny because as consultants and as a media company, when I see a client, I see their story and I see how impactful it is. But for us, it's like, oh man, it's really hard to get it out there. And so as I've been processing this, it's actually helped me to empathize more with our clients and with a lot of you, because I've had to work through those emotions of realizing, do people really want to hear our story? Do people really want us to market with stories, or is that just for everybody else? And so fear has been a huge thing that's held me back from actually wanting to market with stories. The second reason is an even harder one to admit, and that is that over the last 4 years, being totally honest, I just have not seen the results that I expected. I haven't seen the results and the amazing stories that I've wanted. There's been stories of us helping businesses, and the clients that we've served have had positive experiences. And not just positive, I don't just say positive experience as a way of they like us, but we didn't help them make more money. Our clients have loved working with us, even though they haven't worked with us forever. The people that we've gotten to work with over the last 4 years, it's been a really good relationship. We've created really good stories and we've helped them to market with stories. But I'll be honest, we haven't had any of the super sexy stories where, we helped this startup company go to several $1 million by telling a really good story. It's been gradual stuff. It's been helping them to build a deeper level of trust with their audience. And the results are not as, attractive or glamorous. And so that's made it kind of difficult for me as a business owner and as a marketer to be I'm just going to wait until we have better stories to tell. And even in that's me qualifying stories and kind of admitting this story is more important than this story and stuff. And a lot of the businesses that we've worked with, it's been gradual growth and gradual change, and that's just as valuable. And so that's been a big reason of why it's been hard for me to want to start taking some of our own advice, because we advise all of our clients, like, get your customers' stories, find your best customers and get their stories out there. Start marketing with those. But it's been hard because I've been afraid that, maybe because we only worked with this person for a year as opposed to 4 years, that, maybe they don't think that the work we did for them is good enough and stuff. All of it is like fears and insecurities and stuff when those stories are impactful. The last reason that we have not marketed with stories as well as we've advised our clients to is because I have felt like I haven't had enough time. This is a dumb reason because we all have time, and I am a firm believer that we kind of fill our time with what we prioritize. I don't think that our time just disappears. I think that whether it's subconscious or conscious, we're going to fill our time with what's important to us. And so I think the fact that I've been kind of afraid to get our story out there, been in this position where it's just easier to tell other people what to do with their story, that going on in my subconscious and being afraid has caused me to not make time to get our story out there. When I know that if I sat across the table, if I looked in the mirror and I was sitting with somebody that was telling me the situation that I am in, and they were saying, hey, give us some advice. What do we need to do to grow our business? One of the first things that I would say is you absolutely need to get your story out there. You need to start marketing in more content-driven ways. I would start to give them this advice even if they were telling me my own situation. And so that is something I've realized is we need to periodically be checking in with ourselves. If you're a business owner or a marketer, I'd say every couple weeks you need to sit down and say, what advice do I need to give myself? What advice am I giving clients that we're not taking? Am I a graphic designer who builds more beautiful websites for my clients than for myself? Are we sharing other people's stories? And are we helping other people to know the power of their story when we're not actually going in to our story because we're afraid of it? It's hypocritical. I know there's so much contradiction as we deal with whatever's going on the inside with marketing our companies. And so my encouragement today and this week is to ask yourself, what advice are you giving but not taking? Is there anything in your business that you believe and that you're telling other people that you're maybe afraid to implement yourself? Because likely, I think there's some pretty amazing things on the other side of that fear. And so my encouragement is to actually dive into that fear. And this week on this episode of Building the Brand, we really wanted to just kind of be honest about it's been hard to share our story. But I will tell you, we're doing it. We just filmed our brand story video a couple days ago, and we're working on producing that, and so you'll see it soon. So thinking through this whole thing has caused us to really realize we have to dive into this thing. We can't just continue to avoid this. We have to dive in, and we got to get our story out there rather than just telling other people to get theirs out there. I hope this is encouraging for you. We'll see you next week.